What's up there, workforce? Chris here.
Brian here.
And let's sit down and talk a little bit about kind of what's going on with the Fanfest ticket sales.
There's a lot of information, so let's do it.
So Brian, I'm assuming you weren't up 3 to 4 hours before the sun today. So there's a chance that if you haven't seen my video today, you haven't seen the final statement from Square.
So we saw a post on the official forums, like
yes.
Whenever the whole thing was going on.
So how much information do you have as of now?
I'm aware of like two things. They were investigating if illegitimate tickets have been purchased.
Okay.
Right. Okay. And they explained that the vendor had to turn that feature off with a code for a little while, lest the system was crashing or something like that. Right. So it was a technical thing, and that some people got to buy tickets and didn't have a code, well, like didn't enter in the code.
Didn't enter a code, whether or not they had one.
And they were gonna investigate to see if there was any other hacks or frauds or things of that nature. That
was a solid opening statement. I didn't expect them to even give that much. But compared to years past, they didn't really release ticket sale numbers. They were really kind of holding the whole thing close to the vest because they were busy dealing with this drama.
Right.
So this morning during the live letter, there was a whole section, it's in the live letter video, where Foxconn came out and said, in English, which I thought was really respectful. He spoke English. I know they're uncomfortable with English, especially on touchy subjects.
I think he's actually better with English, though. Like when you look at as the skilled people, like I've been told by people who've talked with him that he was very
easy to understand, very clear, very well spoken, and I think that when you're speaking in a second language, especially when you don't use regularly, there would be a fear of being misunderstood. So it was such a touchy subject. I think it was really awesome that he took the time to speak the native language of the people,
audience,
of the people affected. Because it really doesn't matter if France and Japan is like, what's he talking about? It doesn't matter. It's not for you because it's going to be fixed before your fan fest. Especially Japan.
Somebody from France is translating the live letter. And he shows up and he's like, I don't speak English. I speak Japanese and French.
I'm bilingual.
Oh no! Why too?
So he came out and he basically said, last year it took 10 hours to sell tickets. So I had heard people speculating that they remember it being a couple days. Some people said it was hours.
The first one, they did 2 rounds.
He came out. Yeah. So he said 2016 was 10 hours, was their information.
Right.
At 2 minutes past the time that you could refresh your page and join the queue, they already had 6,000 people in the queue.
And they had only 6,000 tickets?
He did not say how many tickets they had total, only that there were more tickets sold this year than 2 years ago.
Okay, wow.
So there's going to be more people there, and that there were 6,000 people in the queue, knowing that those people can each buy up to 4 tickets.
Okay.
So assuming they're all buying 2. So, and that when that happened, since there were other people in the queue and 6,000 going through basically the cash register of this app, the app could not, the software from their third party, the people they chose to partner with to sell tickets, because they're not a ticket sales company, that started to crash. It was going to have a critical issue, and it was going to take everybody in the register, no matter where they were in the purchase, and it was going to kick them all the way out. Just reset the whole thing.
Oh,
and anybody who was through at that point would have been fine, but everybody else, it would have just
Well, you were giving me a countdown, so we were buying tickets.
I had 15 minutes,
and he was like 15, and he's like, I'm at 10 minutes, I'm at 5 minutes,
and I was waiting for the register,
trying to like get through.
It would have kicked us all the way back out, closed the whole site down, and they would have had to boot the whole thing back up.
I never even got through, so it was like you got in, I was not.
You refreshed the same time as me on the phone. Maybe with your ping, you were a fraction of a second behind me, and that puts you 6,000 people behind me. So he said that for a brief window, it was hit so hard that as a failsafe, they chose to just take the access code off. That was not Square. Square can't be there in that live time. The third-party company is like, we've got to stop the problem. So they took it down the need for the access code, which allowed a small wave of people to trickle through until the servers could kind of catch up.
Okay, yeah.
And now looking back, they were able to see how many people that let through, and it let through 500 of the 6,000 people.
Okay.
So 500 people got through, which does make their purchasing faster, I guess, because they don't have to type in the code, but I think we were all using copy-paste, so it's not a huge advantage.
Yeah.
Now, of those 500 people, they've gone back, and now I don't know that the third party can release credit card information to Square. I'd assume part of that contract is that you can't, because then you'd be able to release credit card info to like bands and stuff like that, whoever else I'm buying tickets for.
Right.
And while I trust Square with my credit card, there's been plenty of events I've already been to for people who don't already have my credit card information.
Yeah.
So he said they went through and they checked all 500, and they do not see any illegitimate sales, which means that either the name on the account or the character name used, because it asked for all that all looked legit.
To somebody who actually was given out a code.
Now, people's initial response to this is, but that means there are people who weren't subscribed. Well, first of all, that would have meant that going into this, somebody who wasn't subscribed, or a bot, or whatever you want to say is allegedly going and buying these tickets, knew that it would break, waited in line, refreshed, and got to be one of the 500 of the 6,000 of the huge group of people who were trying to get in.
Right.
And got in.
Luckily. I mean, the odds are very low that happened, right?
I went to the store with the goal of stealing something when there were no employees on the aisle, and I went on a day when all the employees were there, and I just happened to be left alone for 1 second. Like, there were way more chances that plan wouldn't work out than it did.
Interesting.
So,
well, I think regardless of that, I always, I'm very excited that you and I were able to team up and get tickets. So I'm very excited about obviously going to the event, and it's insane that it's obviously grown this much. It just shows you the success of Stormblood. It shows you that success of this franchise and the reboot, which is coming up on 5 years. So I think outside of the news, thanks for catching me up to speed. I'm like,
they talked about that 5th anniversary.
Yeah, 5th anniversary. They're talking about showing us like kind of plans for the next 5 years, right? Because it's you think of a 10-year game. We're halfway through that life of the game. I don't know, if 10 years is just a brand label, but you've never been to FanFest, and that's kind of the point of this video here. And I've been to both of them, both FanFests, the first and the second, where Heavensward and Stormblood was announced. So 5.0.
Now, we haven't talked about FanFest at all. No. All we did was in 2016, I kind of heard a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, and I said, hey,
and
you should come.
said I want to go, and with 2 years' notice, I think I can set aside the money. And that's where we're at.
Right.
So now we've got tickets, and you and I haven't talked about it at all.
No. So, so for your knowledge, so like last time we were at Paris, the first time we were at the Rio.
Okay.
The Rio is off the strip, so we are actually going to be staying in the Rio Hotel, which is, I felt is an important thing.
I've gambled at the Rio.
It's more expensive, but it's still like, it's annoying to get to, because if it was like, let's say Caesars and you're off at Paris, you just walk, you kind of walk across the street. It's big, it's a lot of walking, but it's doable.
They're neighbors, kind of.
You got to cross a highway here, so it's like we're staying at the, and they have everything you could possibly ever want there. The food, dude, is insanely good.
And we're gonna be making videos in our off time, so I don't intend to have a chance to gamble.
Right. I don't think I've gambled either time. Like, I honestly haven't. I've just been having so much fun hanging out with everybody.
If they had slot machines specifically set up with games from Golden Saucer, would you put money into that?
Well, that's the thing. They probably do. Not within the casino, but typically on the floor they have various panels and presentations. They have a keynote, and then also they have various other activities, and you get like a quest book. Assuming they're going to do it like the first 2 times, and then essentially it's you go and do those activities, and then you get
like my diary.
Yeah, exactly.
From in the game.
Yeah, and so you kind of have that, and then you get rewards and stickers and pins and who knows whatever they're feeling. Like they gave out Triple Triad cards last time, so Julie and I were playing Triple Triad together, which was a lot of fun. Playing the game, obviously having to do math in your head as opposed to letting the game do it for you.
Yeah.
Oh wait, are we?
Or trusting that your opponent's not doing math.
Exactly. So that's essentially what we have, I think, to look forward to. It's going to open with a keynote. There's just going to be a huge amount of excitement. Each year there's been a big problem. Like, so if we think of the ticket sales and that thing, I was telling you on the phone, it's like, maybe this is the problem for this year's FanFest, where the first year registration was a nightmare. The second year, it was instantaneous. It was so it was like, oh,
did they check ID or credit card? Because I had to put your first and last name on your ticket, my first and last name on my ticket, and they also asked me for your character and realm and my character and realm.
I don't remember ID, but I mean honestly, I think it was as simple as probably swiping your card, and it's like, oh hell, here you go. So they solved the registration issue from the first year, which was just insane. Like, you're like, oh, I'm still waiting in line to get my stuff. And the line just wrapped around the Rio.
Couldn't they have that the night before? Like
a
lot of... Okay.
They did.
Because I went to a Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I've only been to one gaming-related fanboy something entertainment-ish type convention like this. I went to a Comic-Con that was hosted here in the DFW area. And they had night before registration. If you just wanted to go and just wait in line to take care of your tickets. So the day of, you could just...
Well, they had that, and so that was kind of all... But the second, year 2, when last time we went, it was so easy.
Good.
So smooth. Walk up. There was no line. Like the first year, we're like, are we in the right area? We're like, yeah, here you go. We're like, thanks. The problem the second year was the merch booth.
Okay.
It was.
Which this year we get the Oresian Encyclopedia version 2.
Yeah, I've got some video ideas that I'm going to be. Anyway,
okay.
I'm not going to tease that too much here. So shifting focus is that they fixed the merch booth. I think either for EU or Japan. Like it was like you could actually I want to buy this. I want to buy this. I want to buy this, and then you would just go up and be like, hey, here you go. They already have it packaged for you.
Sure.
The last time it's like they had to start cutting off the line in different areas, and multiple lines formed, and people just started waiting in them, and you don't know what's the official line for merch, and it's a backup line, and so you don't.
No.
A lot of people didn't get to participate in several of the events and panels. They just stood in line for a chance to buy merch, and and the argument is that if you try to like buy this stuff, there's shipping fees. Like it's way more expensive if you want to order that plush that's exclusive to this event, which you can later get online, but it's going to cost you another $20 or $30 more, and they justify waiting in line. So, but they fixed it. They fixed the merchandise problem within the very next FanFest.
Yeah, we're the beta. I get that.
Right. So our hope is that this year there's no problems, and maybe the ticket thing is the big thing. So hopefully, you learn.
Now, are they going to theme the food? Because I always see these cafes, and this live letter was no exception. And they showed the new updated food for the little cafe.
Yeah.
And they had a tower of fried like onion rings that was like heaven on high, and it was something that sounded like tower of fries or tower. And I'm sure in translation it sounds even closer to like the right like punny word.
Yeah. No, not to my knowledge. It's like we've always dined at
I'm just wondering how much of a money sink this is.
Well, so typically Julie and I would go with tickets, with travel, $1,000 to $1,500. Like hotel tickets, travel, food. That was kind of what we budget for it. In this case, the hotel, because they sold out of the code.
Those are re-available now that a lot of people have been canceling.
I need to go and I need to call and see if we can't get that special rate, because the special rate's a huge difference in cost. Yeah, absolutely. So we already paid for our first night, so essentially, yeah, we're good. So we're staying Friday and Saturday night, because they have it opens with a keynote. Typically, they close with a concert, and then people kind of hang out, party, and drink. And so I set it up to where we fly out Sunday, so we're going to stay Saturday night, because I didn't want to be like, we have to leave and get on a plane.
That's where I'll finally get to gamble enough to get some free drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
You sit at penny slots until they serve you.
You just sit free drinks, please. Absolutely. The atmosphere is just fantastic. In fact, one of the things that was always fun is like when Julie and I were there. It's while you wait in line, you're hanging out with Final Fantasy fans, and you're talking about Final Fantasy and video games, and the time passes like you wouldn't believe. It feels like it is all of a sudden 2 days expire, and you're like, man, I'm really tired, but like I don't know why I'm this tired. And you're like, oh, you haven't really gone to bed.
Yeah,
you've been just like.
I've only been to Vegas once. I went with your brother. Okay. I don't know if you knew that.
So fun story though. I haven't told you this. This is breaking news for you. So my dad calls me up, and he's like, Brian. This is like Brandon, how he's like, I'm really interested in you guys, what you're doing on YouTube, and et cetera, et cetera. So that's like, man, this is really cool. Can I come with you to FanFest? And I was like, well, sure, but the tickets are sold out, Dad. Like, because I knew that they had sold out all the tickets. He's like, oh, maybe I'll check StubHub. I'm like, Dad, you're welcome to try. Anyway, so long story short, after a couple conversations, my parents are going to Vegas, and they're going to go out on Wednesday, and so they've invited me to go out, and so I'm going to fly out on Wednesday, and I'll fly back with you on Sunday.
Okay.
So we'll coordinate that, but I was just like, cool. So they're going to cover me all the way through Friday.
Great.
I was like, yeah. I'm going to be hanging out in Vegas for a couple more days, so I'm probably, I'm probably going to come home on Sunday and just crash.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's hard to spend more than 3 or 4 days in Vegas. I don't know if you.
I only went the once, and I don't think I was sober from Dallas to Dallas. But it's my parents. My parents only really celebrate a couple big birthdays, and all the years in between is pretty minor. It's you're a year older. And
good job.
And
way to keep living.
We knew that you would make it.
Yeah.
We were banking on that. Statistically, it was likely. So they actually for your 21st birthday in my family, they take you and a friend, because they don't want to stay up with you, a friend that they trust. So they kind of pick which one of your friends is invited. And so my parents said you and Brandon are going to Vegas. So they took us out. And at the time, we were living on $700 each a month, give or take.
Yeah.
I had $762 every month was what I was trying to keep my budget at. It's a very specific number because it's basically your student loans plus what you saved over the year divided by 12.
Yeah.
And then Brandon was living on even less.
Oh yeah.
So because I don't think he saved any of his money from the summer, and he had a car, so by the time he paid for his on-campus permit and stuff, he was tapped out.
Yeah.
So we were broke. I mean, combined, our monthly budget's $1,100. He lived in the shed behind our house, and my parents gave us $100 a day to be there for 3 days.
Yeah.
And being handed $100 was like, and they said the only rule is put the $100 in your right pocket, and you can take anything you win on a table. If I put $100 down on a hand and I get it back, I can put that in my left pocket. I can go home with whatever's in my left pocket. But it has to touch the table at least once.
You can't live in the right pocket.
Yeah. And I don't think we came home with. I think combined we came home with like $85 or something out of our. Of course, that's $600.
So the question I have for you then is, for going for Vegas for this will be your number 2 time.
Yes.
What questions do you have about the event? Like, what are your thoughts as we build the excitement?
So I expect panels, but I don't really know who sits on them.
Okay.
They'll
do a lore panel.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that people? Is it creators like Ethos?
So
is it people
no,
I know
now,
for lore? Like, how does this, or is it localization team? Is
yes,
it people we
local,
saw at like PAX and stuff like that?
Absolutely. They do like a PvP thing, but when you talk about creators like Mr. Happy and things like that,
sure.
They do a live stream, and last year they had Happy up on and talking on the live stream, interviewing and talking with the community team at that time. So I thoroughly expect that to happen again. I would not be surprised if that.
I just know there's a ton of different communities surrounding this game. So there's the Gamer Escape community, there's various Discords, there's YouTube audiences, there's Twitch audiences.
Right.
Happy is obviously one of the bigger faces for streaming, but there are plenty of big creators over on YouTube, significantly larger than us. And so I just wondered who we would see and who will I recognize.
Well, you should see the Gamer Escape folks out there. They're going, and so that's just usually a lot of fun. I'm betting we're going to see Larry's R. I'm betting we're going to see Happy. I'm betting we're going to see just a lot of the creators that were able to get tickets.
But they'll just be guests.
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering who I'd see in like an official capacity.
Who knows? That could change this year. I have not really seen in an official capacity where like a YouTube creator or Twitch person is presenting on any particular thing, but that can always change, and who knows how that's going to go. But like when we jump back to the panels, it's like they'll see a development panel. So last time they brought out the guy who made one of the bosses in the 24-man raid, who was really hard, and he talked about the process of building the boss. They talk about the process. They'll have a panel on just like the naming convention. So they spent one time like, how did we come up with the name Stormblood, and that ties in to the lore and the story, and they'll show off various things. And for North America, we'll typically get the name of the expansion. We'll get the opening trailer. That's not the full trailer.
Okay.
They'll tease a job with a Yoshi P shirt. Like Yoshi P will wear a shirt that's kind of hinting at what one of the jobs.
In hindsight, but we won't.
Yeah,
we won't have enough to know.
Yeah, I mean, you could speculate. We did really good this last expansion, knowing what it was, and then I was really hoping for Blue Mage. A lot of people were, but the with Red Mage and then with Samurai, to say like I think a lot of people would love for them to introduce a job, at least in name, like in the outside of the shirt at North America. But they typically they try to pick.
They gotta save something for the other two.
They do. They try to target that, and so us being up first, we get that reveal. You get to hang out. Like I've run into Yoshi P multiple times while there. Like so it was just like because the team's walking around. It is a lot of work for them, but at the same time, like, oh hey, there's Yoshi P. He's over there hanging out with fans and talking with people and things like that. So that's one of the things I'm hoping that we can.
Now, how much
be out there and
downtime
maybe
is there?
get an interview with them,
So I've watched a lot of conferences digitally. I've just only been to the one in person.
Not a lot.
So when one panel ends, how long until the next panel starts? Is it going to be 48 hours of craziness? Or is
typically, I would say there's probably maybe like an hour or something, but there's something going on. There literally is like an event to an event to an event, and it could be like panel, and then in 2 hours another panel. But during the meantime, they're going to be doing a PvP tournament on stage. So there's something always on the main stage.
Okay.
And then while that's also going on, you got all these other little things that are going around. And everybody in the past has been able to always see the main stage from wherever they are. So if you're in line for playing like they had a dungeon time challenge mode where you race another team of 4 to see who can complete the dungeon first. When you know, like that was really fun and interesting. They had a 24-man trial 1 year. So while you wait in line, they got tons of computers set up.
Okay.
So they like the line can go, like some of those lines can go really quick. I don't know if that was the fact that everybody was waiting in line for the merch, and so that. Like,
are you logging in on those computers?
No, not as yourself.
Okay.
So the big key, if you're here's a pro tip: take a picture of your hotbars.
Because if you're logging in, now we can save things to the cloud.
Yeah. Well, that would be ideal. Oh my gosh, that would be insanely awesome if I could just say, "Yep, I got my stuff and I'm ready to go." However, so just note that. Take a picture of your hotbar just in case that's not going to be a possibility. It hasn't been the last 2 times because you get a little time to set yourself up, but you're doing it all off of memory if you don't have anything to go off of. 100% off memory. And as a controller player,
Brian's over here watching a macro guide on YouTube.
Oh my gosh! Like, oh my god, Work To Game, Brian macros. What did I write down? Or pulling up my Google Doc. You know, it's like okay, you know, it's like
okay.
They'll have a lot of sponsors. They do giveaways and things like that. You know, so you'll see like headsets and computer monitors.
Do you expect any truly exclusive loot since they've really announced that...
Exclusive to FanFest. And that's going to be in the form of merchandise.
Okay.
Yeah. So
the in-game stuff that they're selling on the market, they kind of took the, I guess, exclusivity out of it because you can...
Well, and the fact that it's a mount, I think is the right choice for that.
Okay.
I think the exclusivity...
I think it should have been a different color. Like
I think exclusivity comes in with... oh, that'd be cool. I think exclusivity comes in with what they're selling on the show floor. I think also then, which is great. Will they make that eventually available? Yeah, it would make sense. But it's that you get, like, we got the lore book then. Like, you couldn't get it for months.
Right. They haven't even announced pre-order dates for
America. So they're going to have it at the fan. Like, and then, like, I didn't get mine because I didn't wait. I was like, I'm not waiting in line. I'm not doing that. I didn't get mine until, like, 6 months later. So I was like, great. It's a fantastic book. I've got stuff that I've got planned for the channel.
And so, panels, there's going to be, obviously, PvP events going on.
Yeah.
There's going to be a concert. There's going to be some...
There's other battle challenges. They did one cool event where they would spin a wheel and whatever, like, basically, if you think of it as, like, Heaven on High where they give you a debuff, it's like, oh, okay, guys, everybody unequip your pants. And then you got to go do this fight. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was just really fun. Like, it was the point where I've always seen them do that. I go, can we get that in game? That sounds awesome.
That's all that needs to be.
Well, just even like
the number of times, the number of times you spin the wheel is the number of loot bags you get at the end. See, spin it as many times as you want.
Spin away, yeah, have fun.
Go nuts. Go in unsynced. Spin it 5 times.
I like the race where they did a team of 4 and team of 4, and you're racing through a dungeon. They did it because it wasn't set up like in the game to do it, so they would just all queue in and go, and then so that was kind of neat. I would love to see that kind of thing, like, just brought into the game, where it's like, yeah, you want to race? Boom, we're going to do this dungeon, and we're going to see who can clear it the fastest.
That's what WoW has right now. They have the PvE Invitational, and that will end at BlizzCon.
Ooh, okay, neat.
So there's a template out there.
Yeah, for it.
Things the way dungeons work is just enough different that to see it with Final Fantasy would be fascinating.
It would be neat
because the lack of CC and stuff, you can really get yourself in a world of hurt.
Yeah. Okay, so that's what I know off the top of my head. It is just so much fun to hang out with everybody. That's what I'm most excited about. So I don't know if that's like what you're excited about, but to see everybody.
Now, are you going to dress up?
I typically do. I typically have dressed up as a white mage in the past. Julie made us our costumes our first year, and so I did it the first year, second year. The problem is I've lost so much weight. It's like the clothes that I'm wearing that you can't see on screen right now are so baggy. Okay. I promised Julie that once I hit my first milestone, which I'm really close to, we'll go clothes shopping. In theory, she's either going to have to make me a new costume or I'm going to have to come up with something different because my clothes it's not going to fit. It's just going to be, it'll fall off me. Which is a good problem to have.
I would love to dress up for at least one of the days.
We should talk to Julie about costumes. She's gonna have a newborn.
I'm thinking the blue pig might have to make an appearance.
I think so too. That'd be amazing. Maddie would be jealous.
Well, I guess those are really kind of my big questions. I'm looking forward to being surprised. I've watched what's come out of FanFest in the past, so it's not that I'm totally unfamiliar with it. I just don't know what really the difference is in being there.
Right.
I'm looking forward to being around that many Final Fantasy players.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't have enough convention experience to know what questions to ask. Like, is there anything that I need to leave my room with in the morning that people are going to not think of? Like, do machines go down? You need to bring cash if you want to buy merch. Like, is there some pro tip that?
Yeah, bring cash.
Okay.
Just in case they had the first year credit card machines went down, cash line went a lot faster.
So
yeah, bring cash. Hydrate.
Okay.
Yeah, like bring a bottle of water. Because I'm planning on trying to hopefully being able to drink at that time, so I plan on doing that. But also then want to blend it with milk.
And then I don't know if you guys find this interesting. We've been running a little long, but where does our content fit into it? So part of the reason we wanted to go together to the point where we decided if one of us got past the ticket line, we would buy tickets as a pair because we didn't want there to be a chance that only one of us got a ticket. Because if you weren't going, I was just going to watch the free live broadcast. I wasn't going to go without you.
Exactly.
I don't know if you feel the same way. But I don't really have any... this is...
Well,
Julie
can't go this year.
So it would have just been you.
Yeah.
So where do we take breaks? How do you see video content? I know it might be a little early to speculate, but how does... We've never done anything like this work together.
I think we're going to obviously cover the keynote. That's going to be the big first thing. Lots of excitement. So you'll see our reactions to that. We'll do I figure we'll put together various different posts about the panels and the news that comes out because there will be a lot of news. There'll be a lot to unpack.
Okay.
And so it's going to fall into two categories. There's going to be us kind of our initial reaction to it, and then I think at either that point we're going to capture a lot of cool footage, and we'll either then that night sit back and do like a podcast and things like that, and maybe we'll try to get some guests. With any of the creators and stuff like that out there, and then also hanging out with you guys. I think that's going to be an important thing. So I would expect like over the course of 2 days, 4 to 6 videos from us, and then I want to make sure that we also get to spend time having drinks and playing games and talking with like everybody. That's one of the things I think that I don't want it to be like, how was it? And you're like, we edited videos and nobody saw Brian or Chris. But it's that I think we could look at.
Hopefully, we'll be better at the editing by that point. We've never edited on the road, but I have a dry run with. I'm going to BlizzCon 2 weeks before.
Absolutely.
With the intention of, I'll see if I can get videos out.
You need the week between. You need to make sure you get rest. Otherwise, you're just gonna be dead.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have. Well, guys, that's really it. I would love to know how many of you guys got tickets. I know we kind of started off by talking about what was said about the ticket things. I think that kind of puts it to bed, in my opinion. They talked a lot about, Foxconn kind of finished off on like, they're trying to learn about how to learn from that and how to do it better next time, how to expand the number of people who can get in, how to make a fair system. Japan has so many people try to clog their servers that they actually do a lottery system. So it's not first come, first serve. So you're kind of dealt whether or not you're getting tickets. So depending on when that's dealt and how that's dealt, if it's done via email or something, then you don't really have a server being crashed. And on one hand, that would save us from the pain of having it ripped away in front of your eyes. On the other hand, you would very quickly just be like, oh, I'm not going.
Right.
So, I think that would, I think they're looking very hard at, they think there do need to be changes made. And those changes will have positives and negatives.
The question is that does it mean that we would see more FanFests? Because every 2 years it's just like...
I would love to see an East Coast and a West Coast. I think that would really help split the, basically Prime 1 and Aether.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've seen that with a lot. There's lots to talk about. Let us know in the comments below what you think. Again, so that's Chris. We're excited. We're going to be out there November 16th through the 18th. Hope to see you there.
And thank you guys so much for hanging out today.
Hey you! Especially if you're a new face, welcome to the workforce. If you want to hit that subscribe button to say you like us, we'd really appreciate it. But there's a little bell next to it if you really like a channel, and you can go ahead and hit that if you'd like to be notified. Be sure that if that thing lets you know, hey, do you always want to be notified, or you just sometimes want to be notified, that you tell it, oh man, I actually meant by notified. So why don't you give that a click, and we hope to see you around in our next video.